How's it going, everyone? College Lefty, and in this video, Weekend Classic is here. We are about to make a ton of stubs, so let's go ahead and get right into it. And there will be a live stream later on. We got a bunch of stuff coming out in the game today. I was a little bit incorrect with some of my June Spotlight predictions. We are about to get Joe Adell featured in the program. There's also a bunch of other cards. I'll talk a little bit about them. But before we get into that, we have this amazing stub making strategy. I've been talking about this method a lot. But you want to buy as many of the Grady Sizemore and Devin Williams cards once this card drops down in price. I would say the target price is between $5,000, which is the quick sell value, and about $7,000. Later on today, when people are earning these rewind packs, these players are going to drop way down in price. Now, the previous Weekend Classic rewards are already pretty low, or at least Giancarlo Stanton, Corey Kluber, and Carlos Correa. Ryan Sandberg's price is a little bit higher. If I was to kind of make a prediction, I think that Grady Sizemore is going to be kind of similar to Ryan Sandberg, where he's a little bit more expensive than just the others, just because not that many people selected Ryan Sandberg. They probably chose a different player. I think that's going to be a very similar thing with Devin Williams and Grady Sizemore. More people are going to select Devin Williams if I were to guess. But these are some of the rewards. I talked a little bit about it. I've been talking a lot about these stub making strategies and what to do during Weekend Classic. Some of the market has already started to crash a little bit. People are starting to prepare for these rewards to be released into the game. And because we are getting some other stuff like the Spotlight Joe Adell, and then alongside in the program, we're going to see CJ Abrams, Alec Burleson, Michael Bush, Quinn Priester, and then some really good cards in the pack, the June Spotlight pack as well. People might not get into Weekend Classic right away. Like as soon as it drops, they might be trying to grind some of this brand new content, some of these free programs, trying to get their team right before Weekend Classic. So you might have to wait a little bit of time, maybe a few hours, maybe until tonight, to start buying those Grady Sizemore cards and Devin Williams cards. However, it might also be a good idea to buy them tomorrow, right? It just depends. I don't know exactly how quickly those cards are going to drop. If everybody's playing Weekend Classic right away today, then of course, you know, the 600 players mainly are going to drop those previous Weekend Classic rewind packs. Now, if you looked at the screenshot in the beginning, you also saw that some of those tiers have choice packs for 2 rewards. One of them is the current Weekend Classic reward, and the other one is the previous one. So to me, I think that that will also help increase the supply. There's going to be a lot of those rewind packs out in cycle, but also you could do the same type of strategy with the current Weekend Classic rewards. However, those cards are going to be a little bit more expensive. Yeah, they should probably double in price over time, but it might take a little bit longer. Whereas with the Grady Sizemore and Devin Williams, you might be able to double up your stubs a little bit faster and sell those cards after purchasing them over the weekend, right? Sell those cards from July 8th through the 10th to get ready for the All-Star Game stuff coming out on the 11th. We are about to get a bunch of All-Star Game stuff throughout that week. We have the All-Star Game's actually on a Tuesday, so that's a little bit different. We're probably going to get the Home Run Derby content, the Choice Pack. We're probably going to get the All-Star Game content, the pack, and a bunch of stuff that week too. So the prices will probably fluctuate a little bit, but you want to try and buy some of these cards that are limited time cards. And you also have to assess your situation, right? Like if you can't get on the game next Tuesday through Thursday, or if you're not going to be able to play as much, and it's going to take you time to sell a bunch of these cards you're buying, then maybe don't buy as many. Maybe buy some different things, or maybe look to flip on the app if you're not at your house on your console, right? There's a few things that you can do, but the last time I did this, I bought about 90 Ryan Sandberg cards, and it took me, I would say, 2 hours or so to sell them all, just because it was a little bit after Weekend Classic, so the rewards had kind of just gone away. I was kind of thinking some people might have been buying that card just because they either forgot to buy it during Weekend Classic, or they sold theirs to get something else, and then they wanted to try and get it back for a collection voucher or whatever the case is. But really, the main thing is that those cards have a much lower supply currently than some of the other cards in the game that are also not obtainable, right? There's a lot of cards in MLB The Show 25 that you can no longer get, and they might make it available later on, right? They might release some of those cards from like the multiplayer program back into the vault pack or something like that, right? Like we might see some of those cards recycled, but it probably won't be for a little while. and there's a lot of stub making opportunities leading up till then, and we don't even know if that's going to happen or when that's going to happen. But I'm just kind of getting ready for Weekend Classic. I'm playing a game of Ranked Seasons right here. I wanted to try out Pedro Martinez. I was really trying to get my pitcher's stamina back for some of the guys that I want to use during Weekend Classic. So that's also another good strategy. Like, I definitely want John Donaldson, Roger Clemens, and Randy Johnson ready to go for Weekend Classic. Those 3 pitchers are probably my best 3. I also have the Jacob Mizorowski. I also have Nate Pearson, and I'm going to be using those guys, but I hadn't used Pedro Martinez, and I was trying to get some stamina back on John Donaldson. So that's kind of my thinking there. There's still a little bit of time to, I guess, set up your Weekend Classic team if you need to, if you were just playing for World Series recently, or if you're just kind of just playing for fun. I haven't made World Series yet this season. I made it last season. But right now I'm in the middle of like 700s. I started off at 700. This is my second game of ranked season so far. Another good tip here, and I use my bench a lot differently than other people do. I use my bench for mainly speed. I also use some of those players for defense, but as you could tell from my bench, I had Ellie De La Cruz, Pete Crow Armstrong, Rap Dixon, and then Ian Kinsler, who's actually my slowest player, but I wanted to use him because I just ran him for my DH. So just in case to get another at-bat, I'll debut an at-bat with him. But in the top of the 8th, we were able to get the 10-run lead. So we set up the mercy rule. This opponent kind of had a little bit of a strange team, to me at least. Like, he was pitching Jake Arrieta, but he had Carlos Beltran. I don't know. I was confused by that, but anyway, we are ready to go for Weekend Classic. I'm pretty excited, not even just to play Weekend Classic. I'm pretty excited for everybody that's been watching the videos recently to utilize some of these tips, see how everything works in action in real time. And I know for a fact that everybody's going to make a lot of stubs, so I'm pretty excited about that success as well. I've done this 3 times. It's worked out every single time. However, this time, a little bit more of an experiment by telling everybody as much as I possibly could that I'm going to do this. I want to see if that affects the prices maybe a little bit. But my goal, just to recap again, is to buy as many Devin Williams and Grady Sizemore cards as possible for right around 5,000 to 7,000 stubs, and wait for Weekend Classic to be finished. During the next week, July 8th through the 10th, I'm going to look to sell those cards and probably look to sell them for around 14 to 15,000, hoping to double up my stub count, and I should be right around 2.5 million or close to that. That is kind of where I'm projecting. That is what I'm projecting, and I'm hoping to make it right in that spot. If I'm not able to do that, well, I know for sure that I'm not going to lose any stubs. If I buy a bunch of these Devin Williams cards and Grady Sizemore cards and I'm not able to sell them all, then I might have some of my stubs tied in to those 2 players. But I should be able to sell at least a few to get ready for this All-Star Game stuff coming out. And those cards are going to go up in price over time anyway. So we're looking at maybe like a 20-day window for selling those Weekend Classic rewards. But I'm shortening my window because I want to get ready for All-Star stuff. Plus, I think the market is going to for sure crash. Maybe again, if it hasn't already, it's going to crash again during the All-Star Game Team Affinity drop on July 11th. That's just my opinion. Until next time, I'm College Lefty, and hopefully you guys are ready for Weekend Classic. Peace out.